guys, it's Sasha, and today I'm here to do a review on The White Princess by Philippa Gregory. Gregory or Gregor? I was gonna say Gregor, but I mean that's the Y at the end, Gregory. Anyway, I'm going to be talking about the book, so I guess it's going to be spoilery-ish. I don't know, I mean, since this is history, basically I don't really think of it as a spoiler, but if you don't want to know what the book is about or whatever, then this review has spoilers.
Mommy called you.
Called you for you should at least listen to what she had to say. Because it could have been something, yes she did, and he came out of me like, oh, Seth's there, he can't handle it. No, Mama said what you said. Someone down there to get the baby. So I said, Seth and Mom wants you. And then Sasha said, Seth probably didn't hear you, so I went to go see. You sure she called you? No, she told me to come get someone to get him. So she wants you back and
I picked up The White Princess at Books A Million when I went to Florida for a homeschool convention, and I was buying a bunch of books and I saw The White Princess and I was like, hey, I've heard a lot about Philippa Gregory, and I was just like, let me go pick it up. And I picked it up to read it because I was looking for something to read. I wasn't sure what I wanted to read, and I was like, let me just try her book. The book is about Elizabeth of York, wife to Henry Tudor, mother to Henry VIII, and basically it starts where Henry Tudor defeats Richard III in battle, and then where he becomes king, and then it goes on from there to Perkin Warbeck's death. I came into this wondering whether it would be good or not because I've heard a lot about Philippa Gregory's work, and I was like, so I didn't really come in with high expectations, but I didn't come in with low expectations, so it was pretty in the balance there. The book was written all right. I liked learning more about Elizabeth of York in that time period. Usually there's a lot of books centered around King Henry VIII and his wives in that time period. We don't really and there's a lot of stuff also centered around the War of Roses, but I just haven't really read a lot of that, and so this was like a good book for me for that time period to learn about more. Another thing I liked was Elizabeth actually had a daughter named Elizabeth who died when she was like around 2 or something, but when she was in the act of naming her, she said she was naming her after her mother, who was Elizabeth, and she said something to the fact of Elizabeth will grow up to be one of the greatest people England has ever known, or something like that, or a Elizabeth, basically alluding to the fact of Queen Elizabeth I, who is her granddaughter. What else can I say that was good about this book? I can't think of anything else. On to the bad stuff. What I didn't like about this book, so many things. I didn't really like her portrayal of the characters. I did not like the way she chose to go. Historical fiction, so the way she decided to go on the book, some of the things in it I didn't really like, I didn't enjoy. Why did she decide to say that Richard III and Elizabeth of York had a relationship? Let me just tell you that they are supposed to be uncle and niece, and while that there were, gossip about that maybe they did have a relationship or didn't, it is the evidence pointing more towards the fact that they didn't is like 5-10 times a stronger point than pointing to the fact that they may have had a relationship. And I will leave a link for one of the websites I went on who they laid it out really great. I will leave a link to that down below because I am on the no incest train here. Elizabeth acts so helpless. I mean, yeah, some circumstances she were out of her control, marrying Henry out of her control. But I mean, her mother has a spy network. Her mother-in-law has a spy network. Henry has a spy network. Girl, get your own spy network. I mean, you're supposed to be the queen, and she's just like acting like a Humpty Dumpty housemaid or something. I don't know, like, get yourself together, girl. I mean, literally every time somebody would ask her something, I don't know. This one Goodreads review had me cracking up because it felt exactly the way I felt, and I will also leave a link to that down below because that was just super, super, super funny. Another thing I sort of disagree with is the fact that she wrote Richard, Elizabeth's brother, I forget what his titles are. Anyway, Richard, her brother, being alive. He is one of the tower princes, or princes in the tower, or whatever, you know, who disappeared mysteriously under their uncle's rule, King Richard III. Basically, she wrote that they did not send Richard to the tower, they sent somebody else in his place. Since there's not a lot of evidence pointing to whether or not they were in the tower or not, I suppose she wrote might have been true, so I'm just like, I lean more towards the fact that they died in the tower. But I would give it to her that, I mean, it's historical fiction, she can choose to go which way she wants. I actually really agreed with what she wrote, why she chose to write it that way. Here's what she wrote and her author's note about it. I cannot think she would have risked her daughter's place on the throne for anyone but her son. She died before the young man who claimed to be Richard landed in England, but it seemed that her mother-in-law, Duchess Celeste, supported the pretender, and a whole bunch of other people supported him too. I did not like how the book ended with Perkin Warbeck's, aka Richard, aka Pretender, aka whoever he may have been, death. I would have rather it ended with Elizabeth's death. I would have liked to see her reconcile more with Henry at the end. I didn't really like how they pushed Henry falling in love with Perkin Warbeck, aka Richard's wife. I thought that was just a little weird. I did like the part where she emphasized that Henry was grieving over the fact that he actually killed Perkin Warbeck because he felt like he killed himself. However, I feel like if he felt like he killed himself and he thought Perkin Warbeck was being a traitor, then wouldn't that mean, or like, you know, treasonous, you know, trying to encroach upon the throne, wouldn't that mean that he thought that he was being treasonous when he had tried to encroach upon the throne? Another thing I didn't enjoy was the weaving of the supposed curse in there. So apparently Elizabeth of York and her mother, they're both named Elizabeth, so this might be a little confusing, but yes, mother and daughter, Elizabeth and Elizabeth, supposedly put a curse on whoever kill her brothers. I just found it, and they was like, okay, the man would see his son die, and then his son's son would die, and their line would be left with the girl. And I just found it funny because obviously they had Henry kill Perkin Warbeck, and you know, King Henry VIII dies, and the line ends with Queen Elizabeth I. I really liked how she did that part. I thought it was very well thought out and planned. I mean, I would recommend it to, I guess, people who like historical fiction, to people who want to know more about the War of Roses or the Cousins' War. My rating for this was 2 stars. I was going to give it like 2.5, 3, but then after much reflection, I was like, it wasn't that good for me. Anyway, that's all for now. I hope y'all enjoyed this review. I'll catch y'all next time. Bye!